Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be making this beanie, and you will notice that I have a clip to do the crown of the beanie. It's just a standard clip that I use for all of these style beanies that I do, and then I show you the repeats and whatever brim I did for it, whatever ribbing style brim, what have you. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the details. This particular hat is not your waffle beanie because it's not the waffle stitch. So I used Premier Just Yarn Worsted Value Ombre in the colorway Eggplant Ombre. For this one, this is showing you it in a solid, and for the child size, I am going to do it in 2 tones. I'm also only going to use 40 stitch round for the child size beanie. Now this is a younger child, so when you're following the tutorial for the crown, if you want the adult, I recommend doing the 60, or if you want the youth, really small child, should I say, smaller child, I would use a larger hook and I would use 40 stitches. And that's where I'm at here. So when I meet back up with you after you get the crown done, I will be back on this color and be adding in Lion Brand Landscapes. And I think this is called Coral Reef, the one that I'm using. I just had it sitting in my stash and I thought, you know, that would be really pretty to incorporate with this. So we're using a combination of Premier yarns and Lion Brand yarns. All right, everyone. For this hat, I used a 5mm crochet hook, and that's what I'm going to continue with for the tutorial today. All right, everyone, go ahead and work through your crown, which is 60 stitches. I'll meet back up with you and we will start working on the pattern. All right, so those of you that like to do a magic loop, now's your time to shine. Those of us that like to do a chain 4 and slip stitch to that first chain, here we go. We're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to slip stitch to that very first chain to create a ring to work in. Now I do work over the top of my tail so that way I can use it to cinch up the ring. Now, I also do what is known as a mock double crochet, or some have called it a freestanding double crochet. I'm going to go through it real slow with you the very first time, or you can just do the chain 2 or chain 3 or chain 1 and double crochet. However you would do a starting stitch as a double crochet and you're most comfortable, feel free to do so. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to be doing it so that way when you see me do it throughout the pattern, you'll know what I'm doing. So I draw up a loop to the height of a double crochet, and I place my finger on that loop and I hold it so that way I can slide it back and forth, but it doesn't go around that hook. So I'm holding it nice and tight. I'm going to bring my hook towards me, down and under and back up. That gives us the appearance of 2 loops on our hook. We're going to come around and stick our hook into that ring, yarn over and pull up a loop. We now have the appearance of 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and go through 2. Now this loop you're holding is the top of that mock double crochet. So we're going to yarn over and go through those last 2 and place our stitch marker into the top of that mock double crochet. So right there underneath that loop we were holding. Now we're going to place 9 more double crochets into this ring. giving us a total of 10 double crochets when we slip stitch to our very first stitch. So I'm going to work on my 10 and I'll be right back. All right, so now we've made our 10 double crochets. At this time, you can pull that closed and sew in your tail if you so choose. You can wait until you're completely done to do that if you would like. Now we're going to place 2 double crochets in every single stitch all the way around for round 2. That will give us a total of 20 stitches for round 2. So just 2 double crochets in every single stitch all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and replace my stitch marker. There we are. And 2 double crochets in every stitch. I'll meet up with you after you have your 20 double crochets. All right, so round 3 is 30 double crochets. So we're going to 2 in the first one. Replace my stitch marker back into that first one. And 1 into the next. So that's what your repeat is for round 3. You're going to place 2 double crochets into the next stitch and 1 into the following. And repeat that all the way around for a total of 30 stitches for round 3. Moving on to round 4. Round 4, you will have 40 double crochets. So we're going to place 2 in the first stitch. 1 and 2. Replace my stitch marker. And 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And that is our repeat. 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Go ahead and continue around with that repeat for round 4. You will have 40 double crochets. I'll meet up with you at the end. All right, for round 5, which is 50 double crochets, we're going to place 2 double crochets into our very first stitch. And then 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And that will be our repeat all the way around for round 5 for a total of 50 double crochets. So 2 double crochets into the next stitch and 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches for your repeat. All right, I'll meet up with you after we both have 50 stitches. All right, round 6 is our last increasing round, and we will have 60 double crochets. So we are going to place 2 double crochets into the very first stitch and 1 into each of the next 4 stitches. And that will be your repeat for the round. Two double crochets into the next. And 1 into each of the next 4 stitches. Again, at the end of round 6, you will have a total of 60 stitches. I will meet up with you at the end and we will move on to round 1 of our pattern round. All right, so we're going to start with just basically 1 round of half double crochets, and then we're going to continue and begin our repeating rounds. So once you have your 40 or 60 stitches, double crochets for your crown, you're just going to chain one and half double crochet back into that same stitch. Consider this a setup round, even though all we're doing is placing one half double crochet in every stitch all the way around. That's all there is to this round. All right, so there we are, just one half double crochet all the way around. When we get to the end, I'll meet up with you. All right, now that you have your crown of 40 or 60 stitches, we're going to go ahead and introduce the secondary color. Now, if you are doing it in a solid, you're just going to continue on and work every round with the same stitches, just same color. But for this one, I'm going to change colors on this round. So I'm just going to slip stitch to close up my last stitch here. And then I'm going to chain one and half double crochet back into that same stitch and place my stitch marker. All right, now when you go all the way around and meet up at the end, you'll slip stitch to the top of this stitch with your main color, so back to the original color. For this round, we're going to consider this our setup round. It is just one half double crochet in every stitch all the way around, and you will have the same number of stitches. Every round you will continue to have whatever amount of stitches your crown was. That's how many stitches you'll have at the end of every single round. All right, so for those of us changing colors, we change colors for this setup round, and then we'll begin our repeats. All right, so for round one, you're repeating rounds. Remember I said this was a setup round, and if you were doing two colors, to slip stitch at the end of the round back to your main color. All right, if you're using one color, you're just going to slip stitch and carry on. Once you've slip stitched, we're going to go in behind that stitch. We're going to create a single crochet back post. And I know this is not everybody's cup of tea. Oops. We need to chain one first. Sorry about that. Then we're going to go in behind that half double crochet and go to the opposite side of it, out the back, yarn over, pull a loop through, and through. The first one's always a little bit more tedious than the rest of them. There we go. All right, and then just single crochet. Now we can move on to the rest of them. It's just that one where you have that slip stitch. It's a little bit bulkier, and you have that chain one involved and all of that. So it takes a little bit to maneuver that around to get where it actually looks right. But now we can move on and back post single crochet every stitch all the way around. So we're just going to back post single crochet every stitch. And what that's going to do is pop this color to the front and give it this ridge, this colorful ridge. All right, so one back post single crochet all the way around. When you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch, and we're going to hold the same color for the next round. All right, once you've made it to the end of your back post single crochet round, we're going to keep the same color. If you're using multiple colors, you're going to keep the same color and slip stitch to the very first stitch. And then this round is a double crochet round. So I'm going to place a mock double crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way around for the same number of stitches that I started with. So I'm going to continue that and work double crochets all the way around, and then slip stitch with the contrasting color or secondary color at the end of this round. And that's, let's see, round 1, 2, this is round 2. For round 3, repeating round 3, you're going to use the contrasting color. All right, repeating round 3. You're going to chain 1 and half double crochet into the very first stitch. Then we're going to front loop, well, top loop, should I say. We're going to yarn over twice for a treble, skip the next stitch. We're going to work down into the following and front loop, or top loop, should I say. Pick up that top loop and treble crochet. Okay, and we're skipping because this is actually going for the one that you're skipping, this next stitch here. So then you're going to half double crochet into the next, and we're going to repeat this all the way around. So yarn over twice, skip the next stitch here, go into the top leg of the next one, and pick it up and yarn over and pull through. And then you're going to treble crochet, then skip your next stitch and treble crochet into the following. Okay, so again, yarn over twice. We're skipping the next stitch. We're going to go under the top leg of the following. And treble crochet. Then you're going to skip up here on the row that you're working. You're going to skip the next stitch up there and half double crochet into the next. So we're working into that ridge right there. And we're also working up here on this row. We're treble crocheting down into that top leg of this ridge, and we're half double crocheting into this row. All right, for this beanie, you're just going to continue to repeat the repeating rounds 1, 2, and 3. So your back post single crochet round, your double crochet round, and then this half double crochet with the drop down treble. You're going to repeat those rounds. For the adult, I did 3 repeats, 1, 2, and 3, and then I started working the brim. Now, you may only do 2 on a child's, you might do 3 on a child's. It's going to matter to you and whom you want to put the beanie on. For me and my personal preference, this is what I did. I did, for the adult, I did 3 repeats of those 3 rounds. Then we did a 1x1 ribbing and an edging. I'll get to that part here in just a moment when I get the child size completed. I'm probably only going to do 2 rounds on it, give or take. I'm not 100% sure until I get going, but I will let you know when I come back. All right, for this child's hat, I just did 2 repeats of those 3 rounds. When you come to the end of your repeating rounds and you're working 2 colors, on the very last round, you're going to slip stitch using your main color. So we can go back and work the brim the same as we did the crown and work the main color. So for round 1 of your brim, we're going to create a back post round, but this time it's going to be a double crochet back post round. So you're going to, please remember that this first stitch is always a little bit wider because of your slip stitch and your chain and everything. So when you go to back post, make sure you get all of that that's between those 2 front post treble crochets. That way you know you've collected the whole stitch. So we are going to back post. I'm going to back post mock double crochet. You can do this with your standard chain up and then back post. But I'm just going to mock double crochet, but I'm back post with it. All right, the next stitch is the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and back post double crochet and continue. Back post double crochet each and every stitch all the way around, and you continue to have the same number of stitches that you started with. And that way that pops that ridge out at the bottom just as we did up here. It's going to do it the same way down here. So I'm going to work back post double crochet all the way around for round 1 of our brim. I'll come back and show you how to work your next round, and then you can carry on with that for how many ever rounds you so choose. Your repeating round for your brim. We're going to start with a back post double crochet, and I'm just going to do a mock double crochet back post here. So your first stitch is a back post double crochet. The next stitch is a front post double crochet, and then a back post double crochet. And you're going to repeat that all the way around, just repeating front post, back post, front post, back post. And you're going to do that for as many rounds as you so choose for your brim. For the adult one, I did 2 rounds of front post, back post, and then I did this little edging. I'll show you after I finish this brim, I'll show you this little edging that I did on it, just in case you want to add that to it. All right, for the little extra at the bottom of the brim that I've been doing lately, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to go in to the stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop as if to single crochet. And then I'm going to bring my yarn, my working yarn, down under and behind my crochet hook, and I'm just slipping it forward. Now I'm not pulling it super tight. It's got a little loop here. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through to finish that single crochet. Now what happens is this loop will go up and down angle when I go to the next stitch. So I'm going to go over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop to single crochet. Then I'm going to bring that working yarn around and behind and pull it forward. Again, it's not super tight. In fact, let me get the needle here and I'll show you. So it's not super tight. It's not like really loose, but it isn't super tight. Now I'm going to finish that single crochet. I'm going to rock it forward to the next stitch just so that way you can see. These right here are the loops that you made around the single crochet. Before you finish the single crochet, that's the loops that you made. That's both of those stitches. All right. So I'll show you one more time just to show you again. We're going to go into single crochet, pull up a loop. Going to bring that working yarn under the hook, around behind the crochet hook, and I'm just sliding it through my fingers and back up to finish for a single crochet, just like that. All right, and I just do that all the way around, and then I slip stitch to the very first one and sew in my ends. That finishes the beanie. All right, so here it is. Here's the child size, very young child size, and it's in 2 colors, like that. That's the join seam. It's not as crisp as it could be, but it is the join seam there. And then here it is in the solid. Now, as far as the join seam on it, that is right here. All right. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, whether it's in an email or in the Facebook group, or comment down below. Just reach out to me and I will do my best to help you through this beanie. All right, everyone, be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.